What's up, you guys? It's Frank the Tank, and welcome to week number 14 of the Summer League series. It's the final week, and then we are done with this. But luckily, it is not the end because remember, I put up a community post where you guys voted on whether you wanted these league videos to continue, and indeed, they will continue based on the vote count. 90% of you voted yes, so we're definitely going to be going into the fall league, continuing with these league videos. So, and it's definitely going to be a fun one because obviously the fall league is that's the big one. But unfortunately, I don't know who I'm going to be teaming up with because my teammates, the three that I'm with, they will be taking a step back due to a busy upcoming schedule that they have for basically the rest of this year and going into the 2023. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find a new team, which is no big deal because remember, when it comes to this thing on its own. We're basically focused on me and my performance anyway, so that part really doesn't matter all that much. But yeah, here we are, and we are officially league winners. So that's really cool. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see that. There's Team 6. That's us. We won with 33 points. Well, it was not even close. Team 3, second place team, got 29. So we walked away with this one. We held the lead for quite some time. And then looking at the season high scores, I can officially confirm that I walked away with the highest scratch game of the season. That 288 that I got when I achieved my first ever 700 series. No one was able to beat it. However, several people came close. If you remember Ryan Schnorf, where he basically matched me strike for strike in that 1 week. I can't remember if it was week 11 or 10. He got 287, so he was so close, but unfortunately that 710 prevented that. And let's see what else. Pete Hill, I got a 279, I believe, in week number 13, at that final week where we won the league. And then Gina Vasquez Alvarez, when they faced us in week 12, week 11, again, I don't know my weeks too well. She also made a run for 300. I think she made it to the front 9, and then she messed up the first shot in the 10th, and then she was only able to get 276. So several people got pretty close to try to get past me, but unfortunately my 288 was too much, and it could not be touched. And then, of course, I also walked away with the highest scratch series, 753. Not anybody was able to top that. The people who came the closest were Pete Hill and Jess Salazar. Pete Hill, who got 719, and Jess Salazar with the 713. So yeah. And then I also walked away with the highest handicap series, 804. And then Ryan Schnorf unfortunately took highest handicap game for me. I was only able to get the second highest handicap game of 311 while he walked away with 323. So I wrote my name all over this one. And I'm definitely now interested to see how I'm going to stack up against many others going into the fall league. Because like I said, that's the big one. That's where there's going to be a lot of teams, a lot more competition. I don't know if Gary Gardner, the guy who I've mentioned many, many times throughout these videos, he's the guy that I'm really after. And then I'm not sure if Mike Romero, the guy who hosted the 8-gamer, which I showed you the video of that my run in the 8-gamer tournament that I did not too long ago. He was the host. I'm not sure if he's coming back for the fall league. He's also somebody who I also contend with because if you guys remember the very first league series, the Friday League Series set of videos that I made, I averaged 215, and Gary, he averaged 222, and Mike averaged like 218 or 219. So we were the only 3 guys in that entire league out of the hundreds of people that were in that league that only got that were past 210 or higher. We were the only 3 guys. So now I'm very interested to see, will there be any competition? Will I be able to actually match up to these guys? Will I be stuck down in the 210, between the 210 and 215 range again? I don't know, but we're going to see. So that's really the only thing I have left to tell you, other than tonight is sweepers night. So really, it's just a little bonus night. No points. We already won the league anyway. So it's just a go out there and have fun kind of thing and hope that you place high enough to get some extra cash. And yeah, that's pretty much all that is. And also, on a kind of sort of unrelated note, I guess, because this is league we're talking about here, I got word about a bowling ball that I'm very interested in that's going to be coming out somewhere in the fall. It's called the Storm Fate. It's another Belmo ball, which is being added to the Storm Belmo collab line, I guess. And we finally have word on it. Bowlers Rent recently talked about it, and they said that it's been USB-C approved. And when that happens, I think it's usually not too long before we will be seeing maybe like the announcement of it. So I'm very interested to see that one, because obviously that's the one I'm most interested in. It's a Belmo ball, so of course I'm going to be interested in that one. But for right now, the upcoming, with the release of the RSTX2 and the Hype Solid and whatever else came out, they're dealing with that first, obviously, and then in September, the Night Road and the Supernova. So I imagine that not long after those get released is when we'll finally hear about the Fate. But as of right now, I can officially confirm from Belmo himself that the ball will have like a new cherry berry type of fragrance to it, and it will have a brand new weight block in it. So no more of the piston core. The Trend 2 is officially the last ball to have the piston core. We are now moving on to something brand new. So that's why I'm very interested to see what this thing is going to be. So for right now, all we can do is just sit here and wait until they make some kind of announcement on it. So now that we have covered all of this, let's go on and roll the clip for the final night of this Summer League series. All right, you guys, here we go. Week number 14, the final night, sweepers. So this night, the best way I could sum it up was, okay, have you ever had that one night where you have your 10 minutes of practice or whatever before the league starts, and you just have a terrible practice, you're not able to find a line, you're not able to strike, like nothing, your form is kind of terrible, you're feeling a little bit tense, and then suddenly the league games start and you bowl like an absolute legend and you bowl some high scores? That's literally how I could sum up this night. I had a terrible 10 minutes of practice, wasn't able to find a proper line, nothing was working, my shots were terrible, and then suddenly the game started and I was bowling incredible. Everything was working, everything was falling into place, everything was going my way, and I was like totally focused, everything was good. That's literally how I could sum this up. So and you know what? I also had a terrible practice session in the days leading up to this too. I went to practice a couple days ago, and I tried working on improving my form a little more because I wasn't happy with how, I still am not happy with what I am seeing. So I went to practice. I worked on my, let's see, oh yeah, and the Axiom Pearl. I'll talk about what led up to that. So I worked on my footwork because I'm still not happy with how that's turning out. I'll show you in a little bit what I mean with what I'm not happy with. And also my supporting hand. I also worked on trying to keep it on the ball because it actually comes off the ball at the top part of the swing and relocates itself for like a half a second. Yeah, I'll show you that too. So yeah, I worked on that, and no improvement was made. I literally just could not do anything to make it better. No improvement was made, bottom line. So, yeah, I guess now we'll move to the left lane and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So, yeah, I guess you could say it was like more like a feel problem, because that's how you learn to bowl. You learn to bowl through feel. You could still go and like research whatever it is that you're trying to research. You could go and ask questions, but in the end, you're the one that has to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. You're the one who has to execute it. You're the one who has to, whatever it is you're trying to implement into your game, you're the one who has to do it in the end. So it's all through feel. That's how you learn to bowl. And that's literally how I did it. And for me, that was the problem. I just could not get a feel for whatever it is I was trying to implement into my approach. So I basically went back to the drawing board. I went back to what I've been doing. So watch, take a look here. So footwork is looking okay, right? So this is what I'm trying to work on here. So the first, second, and third step look fine, right? I did have a problem where my third step got way too far out that way, but I worked on keeping it a little bit closer, as you can see there. Really nice. This is what I worked on. You see that? my fourth step, it like goes back that way. And it's not supposed to. I'm supposed to continue, like, you know how I walked to the left? I tried to continue, what I tried to work on was try to continue going that way with that fourth step. But instead, I go that way and then my fourth step goes this way, if that makes any sense. And also, I'm working on trying to keep it a little bit closer together because, as you can see, I put a lot of distance in that between that third and fourth step, and then going into my slide. And then also, I'm still working on trying to keep the wrist cupped a little bit. But the problem that I have here is, you see that pretty decent release. But the problem that I have with my supporting hand, as I told you guys, is this. Take a look at this. So everything looks good right there. You see that? My supporting hand kind of comes off a little bit and then it like relocates itself. So I think what what I've been trying to work on was trying to find that position that my hand relocates to, so that way when I'm, doing the swing, my hand does not move at all. Because clearly, like, wherever I put my hand before I start moving, it's not the right spot if my hand is trying to relocate itself. See that? Now it's there. It like comes off and then relocates itself. So I don't even feel that when I'm in the middle of my approach. It all feels natural to me. It's so weird. And because of that, I kind of lose the whole cupping of the wrist and I end up kind of in the middle, on the back part of the ball in the middle, and I end up with that kind of release instead of underneath the ball, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. It was disastrous in that practice session because I made no improvement. But I'm glad that it didn't affect my game here on this night. Everything was doing good. 2 in a row to start things off, and then I'll go ahead and I'll tell you the story on this Axiom Pro because I know it's been a while since we've seen one of those on this channel. Alright, so allow me to give you the quick little story on this Axiom Pearl. So this Axiom Pearl is not the same one that I had a long time ago. Remember when I made a review on the Axiom Pearl? If any of you have been here for that long, I made a review on this ball and I absolutely loved it. The amount of what length on it, the way it turned the corner, it was so perfect. I loved it. And it's not, that Axiom Pearl is not this Axiom Pearl. The numbers on that Axiom Pearl were different from this one. This one I recently punched up a couple days ago, actually. So what happened was I had this one stashed, and it's just been sitting there. And I thought, you know what? Either I sell this one, get rid of it, or I punch it up. And I thought, you know what? This ball was good to me before, so I figured, you know what? Let's punch it up and let's see what happens. So you may be thinking, what happened to the last one? Well, it had a pin above the ring finger layout just like this one, but the difference was the angle of the mass bias to the pin. It was more like that, if you know what I mean. If you look at this one, it's a lot more straighter, like you see there. So yeah, I had the mass bias kicked over way more to the right on the last one, and it wasn't really that good to me now because at that time I didn't really fully understand what kind of ball motion really worked for me. I didn't really know how to read ball motion that well compared to today. So that one was not really working out that well for me. I realized, okay, wait a minute. The nuclear cell has a pin above the ring finger layout on it, and it works so good. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to take this nuclear cell to the shop, have the PSO look at that, mark it up, and get the numbers off of that and see what it is. And he, after marking it up and getting the numbers, he came to the conclusion that those numbers were 70 by 4.5 by 55. So I brought this Axiom Pearl to the shop and thought, let's put those numbers on this one. And that's what we came out with, this. So then I used it a couple days ago at practice, and it was fantastic. It was just like the infinite physics all over again. Punched it up and instantly just needed one game to know that it was a good ball for me. So I thought, you know what? It's kind of a long shot, but I'm gonna take it to league, and I hope that I could do good with it. And now here we are in league, and I think I'm on 2 in a row right now. So yeah, that's the story on the Axiom Pearl. Got rid of the old one because the pin of the ring finger was good, but the way the angle of that was, it didn't match up well with me. So we redid it with this newer Axiom Pearl, and works beautifully. So yeah, just like last week with the infinite physics, I walked into this one with a little bit of skepticism because I thought, was this the right call bringing in a ball that I just barely used? Well, yeah, of course it was the right call, but man, what a rocket. Did you guys see that head pin? Let's go back and let's get a replay of that. Watch the head pin. Flew across. Crazy. All right, so we're on 4 in a row with a ball that I barely used. I mean, I have used it in the past, but punching a brand new one up with a different, kind of different layout, kind of risky, but as you can see, it turned out to be a good call. So yeah, one of the issues that I had with that pin above the ring finger that I had on my old Axiom Pearl that I did on that review video from many months ago was because my release started to change over time, the ball was not flaring properly anymore because the way I was letting go of the ball, the track flare started to show up over the middle fingers, and that was affecting the way the ball was curving down the lane. In fact, sometimes the ball wouldn't even curve at all, so that needed to be changed. We realized that, okay, after what happened with the nuclear cell, because the nuclear cell was working just fine, it would work no matter what I did. It would flare properly, all that stuff. We thought, okay, then I guess maybe kicking that mass bias out too far to the right is not a good idea for me because of how I let go of the ball. So we need to keep it a little bit more to the left and keep it straighter, like I just showed you guys that photo. So yeah, and it ended up being the right call. Absolutely, it was the best call. I mean, even though I fell off on my shot there, still wasn't affecting the ball motion. So yeah, this is crazy, but I'm glad I decided to do this. I mean, punching up a new ball, well, or should I say an old ball now, an old discontinued ball, and bringing it to league night after only having used it for one game at a practice session. And here we are on 7 in a row. How crazy is that? All right, here we go again. Can we keep the string going? Left of target, through the nose, and we got, that's not a baby split, but that is the 9 and the 10. Check out this pathetic attempt. Ball fell off my hand, and I lost a little bit of count. But it doesn't matter. I mean, 7 in a row to start things off, fantastic. All right, so you know how when you've strung a lot of strikes together and then suddenly after you miss, you just start missing every time after that? You just like totally start to lose your look? That's literally me in this first game. Got into the front 7, and then I either started getting unlucky or I started making bad shots. And if that wasn't enough, I started to miss my spares too. All right, so we made it to the 10th frame, and I was annoyed at myself because I could have, even though I messed up in the, what is it, the 8th and 9th frame, I clearly could have still, you know, I still could have salvaged this. I still could have put in a really good score, but I blew it in the 8th and 9th frame. So I don't even know what I could max out at, but we got a strike in the 10th, and then here we go for the second shot in the 10th. Fell off, put it too far to the right, and we end up with the split. So you see what I mean? I was real annoyed at myself for having totally just ruined it with these last 3 frames. I mean, 8th frame I messed up. Well, I don't really remember what I did in the 8th frame, but yeah, I messed that one up, got a split, didn't even bother to try to make it, like put any effort into trying to make it, and then the 9th frame I left the 10 pin, missed it, and then here we are. I struck once, but then I split again, and now as a result, I'm only in the 230, so I totally blew it with this one. Just skinned it. Didn't make it, and we end with the 231 to start things off. So yeah, not a terrible way to start. I mean, a 231 is still pretty good, but you know, when you know that you totally blew it and you know that you could have gotten a much higher score easily, you know, it's just one of those things. When you know you could have done better. So yeah, I was kind of a little annoyed at myself, even though, you know, like I said, this is still just like a bonus fun night with no points. I hate when I do that to myself. All right, so here we go again, going into game 2, frame 1, continuing with the Axiom Pearl. Kind of a little slow on that one, and it was a little left of target too. Fell off on it, and I sent it too much to the right. chopped on it and only got the 10. Fantastic way to start off game 2. All right, frame number 2. Hopefully we can recover after that really bad start in the first. That one, I think I got it to the right a little too early and also very right of target. So 2 things in one that I did bad there, and as a result we have the 7 pin, because I know I saw it got it there when I should have gotten it more over here. So bad shot on my part. Now take a look at this. This is what I really like to see here. Look at that. Clean delivery, clean form at the foul line. Caught the pin nicely. That's what I like to see. Cleanliness. Okay, so at this point we came in for a ball change, but only for a reason. So the plan was originally that I was gonna stick with the Axiom Pearl throughout the night if my PSO did not finish the nuclear cell in time, because what I did was a couple days ago before this, I brought it to the pro shop to have it baked because I'd put a ton of games on that nuclear cell. So I brought it to the shop to get it baked, and he told me it'll probably be ready by Friday, which is on this day. And luckily he got it finished and he gave it back to me, so I thought I'd whip it out right now. Messenger takes out the 10. So yeah, that was the plan originally, that I was going to stick with the Axiom Pearl, and if I started to lose my look, I would switch to the Dark Code, but I would only stick to that plan if my PSO did not finish the nuclear cell in time, and luckily he finished it, he gave it back to me, and that's why I decided, hey, why not? I haven't used it in a long time as well, so I figured why not pick it up for old time's sake. And also, what else? He changed the finish on the ball. It used to be 1500 grit polish, because remember how at that time when they were putting that on everything, and he changed it to 4000. So because that's basically what they're starting to put on every ball now. So that ball now has 4000 on it, and it is working so nicely. All right, here we go again on the left lane. My God, love this ball. I'll tell you, this nuclear cell is trying to become my #1 favorite again. Remember, I said not too long ago that the Dark Code is working its way to becoming my #1 and the nuclear cell was going to be dethroned. But this ball is like, screw that. I'm your #1. I'm your #1. I tell you. I am so glad that my PSO finished this ball in time, because, like I said, he tossed it in the oven, got all the oil, removed all the oil out of it. I want to say he polished it to 4000. It still looked shiny. It didn't look dull or whatever, so my guess is, I don't know. I got to ask him more info on that 4000 finish, because... again, that's what they're putting on every bowling ball now, and I don't know, did he replicate the 4K fast, or what is this 4000 finish that he told me about? My goodness, this nuclear cell is back. Alright, here we go on the left now. Just look at how beautifully this ball turns the corner. Oh my God, I love that. Okay, here we go. We've made it to the 10th frame after putting a pretty good string of strikes together yet again, just like we did in the first game. And that streak ends. Thank you very much, 10 pin. Well, that's gotta hurt, and I blew my chance yet again to try to get another high game, and as a result, we're in the 230s again. 236 to be exact. I gotta tell you, that is so annoying how I blew it in the 10th. But luckily, this can still be salvaged, because I believe I needed to get into the 230s yet again if I wanted to get a 700 series, and that is absolutely doable. Oh, and need I mention, I made another unnecessary ball change. I decided, why not switch to the Dark Code? Why not do one ball, a different ball each game? And that turned out to be a very terrible choice that I made, and you are going to see why. So there goes the Dark Code, and look at that. Doesn't even come back, and there's a reason for that. 2 reasons for that, actually. Reason number 1, was I can see that the ball wasn't really turning a lot. I didn't really put a whole lot of hand on it, so the ball didn't really get back. And also, one of the guys on the... Do you remember the very first week in this series where we faced off against that team and I was complaining about how there was that one guy who brought a purple pearl urethane ball? He was back. He was using urethane and nothing but urethane all 3 of these games. He was just tossing it down like this area of the lane. And he wasn't using anything else. He was just using that one purple pearl urethane ball. And I believe that may have been a contributing factor to why that dart code just did not want to do anything. I was kind of a little like confused. Like, why isn't this ball getting back like it should? So yeah, that one guy using nothing but urethane all night on that right part of the lane is what ended up happening. And I'm so glad that it didn't affect me in games 1 and 2. As you guys saw, I put a bunch of strikes together, but look at this. I don't know how that ball got back, but it did. So again, going into why I said this is an unnecessary ball choice that turned out to be a very bad choice, switching to the dart code. Look at that. Ball was just not doing anything when it got down there. Could I miss another spare? Not this time. Take a look at this shot. This is what officially gave me the confirmation that this was a bad choice to switch to. Look at that. See, like I got my hands up like, what's going on with this ball? Why is it dying when it gets down there? One of the reasons being that you could see that I'm really like easing up on that release when I let it go, and then also something's going on down there that's not allowing this ball to get back. So took out one, and that's all I could do. So after all of that, I made the decision that we're going back to the nuclear cell and hope to God that I don't I haven't permanently lost my look for the night. So yeah, I went back to the nuke cell and everything was still looking okay. I truly believe that, okay, I think we could still, salvage this. I don't think it's too late here. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. How do you feel about urethane on a house shot? And how do you feel when other people are using it? I'm just glad it wasn't completely affecting me. So here we go now in the 7th frame on 2 in a row. Fell off on it, but we got 3 in a row. So we're still doing okay, and I realized, I remember after that strike when I looked up at the scoreboard, I realized, okay, the only way I can get a 700 is if I don't miss. I have to strike from here on out. So yeah, I really put the nerves on myself for even thinking that. And yes, that's exactly what I was thinking after I had gotten that strike. And yeah, unfortunately, that one went a little bit slowly down the lane, and yeah, you could see my reaction. I'm like, how did that go high? Unfortunately, I didn't know it at the time, but I think I definitely let that one go with a little bit slower ball speed. And it was after that, I did kind of look up at the scoreboard, and I did the math, and I realized my chance at 700 was officially over. So now moving on to the 9th frame after that split in the 8th. Nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. The best thing I could do is just strike out and still end up in the 200s. Alright, so here we go. In the 10th. Needing to strike out if I wanted to go all 200s for this night. Whew. My goodness. Good strike. Second shot in the 10th. Fell off on it a little bit. Had some hold there. Definitely a little bit more left than my previous shot. Can we strike out? Yes, we can. We clutched it, and we ended with 202. So I believe that's a 669 series to end it. I was a little bit annoyed that I know for a fact that I could have gotten a 700 easily, but obviously because of the mistakes that I made, some of the bad choices, bad shots, that didn't happen. Okay, everybody, so here is the final league summary. of this series. So for game one, we got a 231, and game two, we got a 236, and then game three, a 202 to make up for a 669 compared to last week's series total, 715. And the series required to raise my average plus one was 654. That's quite high. At least that's from what I see compared to last week. I don't believe the series required to raise my average was that high last week, but here we are, and I needed a 654, and luckily I got it. And the pin total after week 14 is now 8,835. And after doing the math, I think it was trying to get 10,000 pins is a possibility, but I would have had to consistently get a certain series, and I can't remember what that was. Maybe one of you guys could do the math. I don't know. But yeah, there we go. 42 games played, and I managed to finally finish this thing off with a 210. And I don't know for sure if I finished with the highest average in this league. I hope that I did, because remember last week I mentioned that one guy, Pete Hill, the lefty, he already worked his way into a 210 average, and I don't know what he shot on this night. So at best, I think I probably got the second highest average. I don't know. But yeah, we raised it a point compared to last week's average being 209.38. Very nice. And my highest game and my highest series continued to be 288 and 753 from week 7 and week 10. So that's how we ended. Pretty good, but let's be honest. I made mistakes in the first handful of weeks, and because of that, my average started out pretty low. And I know for a fact that my average could have been much higher than this, but because of those mistakes that I made, we finished with the 210. Because remember what happened in the last league series? I think I finished with like a 213 or something like that. So yeah, I feel like I definitely, especially considering the amount of 700 series that I got, this average could have been higher, but because of those 500 series that I got, that's obviously what I have to settle for. But anyway, that wraps it up for this summer league series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Many ups, many downs, many new high scores, many things achieved. We won the league. Perfect. Well done. I couldn't have asked for anything more. And now I guess for the fall league, I guess the next thing that we have to try to get is a 300 game. Maybe try to reach 220 average. That's probably the two new goals. Maybe there's something else that I can't think of right now, but that's it for right now. So anyway, I'm Frank the Tank. That is the Summer League series. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the fall real soon. Peace.